Okay, at this time, we're going to go to the Budget Committee. I'm going to ask Chairman Griggs to lead this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, the Budget Committee would like to recognize Bill Reeves. I think he wants to talk to us about a budget expansion, state wildlife grants, and endangered species. Mr. Bill.
This will be quick, Commissioner Cox, I promise. Okay, the agency needs to expand the budget by about $146,000 to accommodate projects that are very similar to the Hellbender project, coming from the same source of funds and that type of stuff. And this is pass-through money, federal money that comes to us that we then farm out to people to do work for us. They make the match, and there is a considerable match required. And so instead of just asking for a budget expansion, I thought I would show you where the money's going to so that you can have an idea of what the projects are. So those of you with a really sharp eye will notice that the amount in the agenda is slightly different here, but Uncle Ken gets on to us if we don't round the numbers up because he likes to deal with round numbers. So as you're looking down through this list, if you have any questions about any of these projects that we need to expand the budget for, let me know. Steve and Christy are here from the Tennessee Parks and Greenways Foundation, and they're one of the people we want to do business with here. They can answer any questions that you might have about their project. I'll try to answer any of the other questions. So here's what the budget expansion will require. Tennessee Amphibian Monitoring Program. We have a long history with these folks. They train people to go out by ear and identify frogs mainly. And we map the distribution of frogs in the state by this project. Now, the rattlesnake project, since you brought it up.
Yeah.
There is a disease, a fungal disease, not unlike the symptoms of white nose syndrome in bats. It's almost identically the same, that's going through rattlesnakes all the way from New Hampshire to Minnesota down to Tennessee. And we think it's wiping rattlesnakes out, which doesn't bode well for anybody. You might think that's good because you're not going to get bit, but they're tremendous predators on rodents, and they need to be out there. So that's what that one's all about. Does that sound better?
Yeah.
So, Christy, did you want to, Steve?
I can explain what ours is, if that would help you feel more comfortable with expanding.
Could you state your name again?
My name is Christy Peterson, and I work for the Tennessee Parks and Greenways. We're a statewide organization working to conserve land, and Bill had come to our office and we talked about funding sources, and we decided to put in a state wildlife grant to increase critical habitat protection in West Tennessee. And that kind of came out of, we had a project in Decatur County that would be buying an important inholding for the Beach River WMA. And we've bought 300 acres of important wetlands in Chester County, and we're buying another 118. So it's just kind of to help increase that habitat and allow us to continue to work. That funding will go towards program support, and our match is going to be buying the land and all the other additional due diligence we have to do for those projects. Any questions?
Thank you.
Anybody on the commission have any questions?
Christie brought up a good point that this money is dedicated for what we call non-game species, but when we can tie it into projects that expand management areas, it also benefits hunters as well and fishermen too. It's all federal money. It's pass-through money going to these individuals or agencies, and they're required to make the match.
Okay, at this time, then I will ask for a motion to pass the budget expansion. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Where is Director Carter? Did he leave? Well, just don't let him come back in then. Okay, we have some business that pertains to him.
Mr. Chairman.
No, we don't want him in. He needs to stay out. Guard the door.
Sorry. Mr. Chairman, historically, the commission has taken action to maintain parity in regards to our director's salary and that of the Commissioner of Department of Environment and Conservation. And the Budget Committee would like to recommend today that Director Carter's salary be increased 8.1%. I've talked to, I think, Mr. Harding, there's no need to have a budget expansion, but just to raise that.
So, I guess the way we'll handle this is with the commission's permission, then I will sign the appropriate documents to do that. I don't guess there has to be a vote, correct?
You have to vote, I think you have to vote
Yeah,
on
we
it.
have
have
to
to,
vote?
yes.
So I need to have a motion? Okay,
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other discussion?
Who made the motion?
I'll make the motion. I don't think it's equivalent to
Okay.
move for approval of the expanded scale.
Second.
So we have, okay, no discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
You can tell Director Carter can come in now.
Just wait till the government takes it, all right?
You can wait, let him come, okay. All right, next on the agenda in the Budget Committee is Gordon Martin, Real Estate Report. Gordon, we always look forward to you. I'd put you last, but we look forward to your report, sir.
We figured you'd leave if you didn't work last.
Thank you, Chairman, Commission. Today, I kind of like to thank Tennessee Parks and Greenway folks for the activities that they have that involve the real estate division. They have been most helpful in partnering with us to acquire lands and to protect important habitat, and we do appreciate that very much. On the real estate report, the first one that I'm going to tell you about is in Chester County. Christie mentioned this, but this is a 300-acre tract that they purchased for us and at an auction that allowed us to be able to have time to get the funds and approvals together to acquire the property. But this is with their assistance also, the Chester County transaction. In Coffee County, we have just closed out at Bart Kemp Barrens a 200.63 acre tract from a Mr. Robert Beaver. In Dyer County, we have closed out a tract that contained 48.3 acres. This is a Miller Lacey tract. Both of these were wetland tracts, by the way. We have a transaction ongoing with Wolf River Conservancy. There's 9 tracts in Fayette County and 1 tract in Shelby County. These are in the process of deed preparation at the title attorney's office for closing in the near future. And let's see here. In Jackson County, we have another transaction with the Tennessee Parks and Greenways. we are ready to basically make them an offer for the tract of land that they have there. They have promised us a bargain sale on that, so I'm sure that's going to happen. In McMinn County, Calhoun Work Base, we have talked with the property owner down there, and we think that we're going to be able to work out something below fair market value on the acquisition of the work base. That's about all I have today. If you'll notice in your package, there were some additional maps that were included this month that show you where the different real estate transactions are. We're still working on how these maps are going to be presented to y'all. They're kind of expensive to produce. So we'll work something out, whether it be in maps or presentation with through the computers in the near future. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them if I may.
Anybody on the commission?
Chairman Griggs, I've got, oh, go ahead, Mr. Cox.
Help me right here, I'm looking for it, I'm just looking for the Turner Rust Done tract, and I don't see it listed here.
That's part of the
How do I
Wolf
go?
River.
I know that, but I'm looking at about 10 Wolf Rivers, and I don't see this one. So, am I not reading correctly, or is it just not there?
No, it should have been listed by the acreage and map and parcel. I'll correct that map. Russ Dunn tract is the tract, that's who owned the tract before the Wolf River Conservancy bought it.
How many acres?
To be honest with you, I don't know. Jim, you'll have to check it out.
I
You'll get
just can't find it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dunn.
I've got a question, and it might be from my lack of experience or just being a freshman on the commission here. As we go down through these land acquisitions, it seems like it's predominantly Middle and West Tennessee. Is it the fact that we have such land in East Tennessee at our already that there hasn't been an interest there?
No, there's an interest there. Under the wetland program, about, I guess, about 80% of our lands in West Tennessee, west of the Tennessee River, are wetlands.
I understand.
There's
But
a
obviously,
limited number in Middle Tennessee, and the wetland fund has been used to buy lands at Centennial Wilderness under the wetland fund exception from the legislature, and also the wetland funds were used to buy the Sunquist properties in East Tennessee.
maybe I'm not understanding. Are these real estate acquisitions are limited to wetlands completely?
No, it's a combination of wetlands and federal funds.
Well, that seems to be my question, is as far as, is there not the activity in East Tennessee, or we already have a acreage there that's significant enough that we don't feel as if we should continue to do real estate acquisitions?
Limitations on expensive money.
Throw my 2 cents worth in. if
Yeah,
I
I'm not
may.
being critical, Director Carter. I'm just asking, as I go through this list and being, representing East Tennessee, maybe I just need to understand how this works a little bit better, but,
Sure.
and forgive me for my inexperience.
The real estate transfer tax is what we generally call a wetlands fund. That's where the money is generated off of that tax when there's real estate transactions occur. But it is limited to wetlands, and in order to be a wetland, it has to go through a scoring priority. It has to have certain kind
Okay.
of plants on. So obviously, East Tennessee being such a higher elevation, wetlands are, so you don't have the opportunity. However,
I understand.
the North Cumberland was an exception that they put into the law. So the areas around Royal Blue and up on the plateau, the rounds around Scotts Gulf, those were exceptions to the wetlands. So almost all of that land was bought through a combination of wetlands fund and something else. So there are some exceptions. We'll tell you that there's about a 4,000 acre tract that I think sometime in the next 3 weeks, we'll probably hear some really good news about in East Tennessee that I think will be coming for some management priorities through the agency and probably even ownership. There's also another 4,000 acre tract in the very same area that I think sometime over the next 1.5 to 2 years will also be available.
Well, that's great news. And I think that answers my question. I just, guess, just don't want to get, East Tennessee doesn't want to be lost in the whole conversation here, and it seems like the agency has it as a priority as well, too, so.
Yep. And I will tell you, there are a couple other areas up there. The Bog Refuge, National Wildlife Refuge, is coming out of North Carolina down into Tennessee. That's also going to be in that whole area up through there, and it's all willing sellers. They're going to pay taxes, their conservation easements will be a combination of all of those, so it's another big project in East Tennessee. But yeah, to reiterate, the wetlands fund is restricted to wetlands.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you for the clarification, sir. Thank you, Chairman Griggs.
Okay, any more questions from the commission? Anyone from the audience? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for the maps, too.
The Budget Committee at this time would like to recognize Ken Targeting, Chief Administrative Services, to give us a financial report. Mr. Ken.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your budget, or rather in your books, should be a two-page report on the financial condition of the agency. I'm reporting through the month of January 2013. At the top of the page, the boating fund is 6.5%, or the boat registrations are 6.5% less than what they were at the same point in time last year. The expenses approximate 36% of the annual allotment. And on the wildlife side, in the middle of the page, we're approximately 1.3% less than the in hunting and fishing licenses than the same point in time last year, with our expenses approximating 38% of the allotment. As I told you last year, we're monitoring very closely both hunting and fishing licenses and boat registrations. Unfortunately, in February, it doesn't get a whole lot better. February is one of our lower months. Looking at even March, it's still down somewhat. We took a closer look at some specific licenses and boat registrations, and basically, in almost every case, the non-resident licenses on the hunting and fishing side are those that the sales are less. Out-of-state non-resident licenses, some of them are up considerably. For instance, the non-resident all game is up, the 7-day is up, the 9-10-day all fish is up considerably, almost 20%. Those are non-resident licenses. On the boat registrations, in every case, the renewals are down. Renewing somebody's boat from year to year to year. In almost every case, the original, somebody bought a new boat, somebody transferred it to somebody, sold it to somebody else. Those seem to be up, especially in the 3-year category. If you recall, boat registrations, we can renew or register for 1, 2, or 3 years. The largest category of increases are in the over 39 foot. Of course, that's big boats. There's very few of those. I don't know what to make of that, other than it appears that there are sales of new boats. There are sales of old boats being bought by new folks. They're registering for longer periods. But the average boat being renewed on a continual basis is low. Our largest or peak time is still upon us. We've just begun it in March, end of February, actually 1st of March. April is a big month, as well as May and June. In any event, on the second page, the Wetlands Acquisition Fund at the top of the page, we have approximately $8.9 million as a balance. On the maintenance, we've zeroed that out as we usually do. In the compensation or in lieu of tax, we have $773,000. Presumably, the May or June time frame will be the time that we'll pay the in lieu of tax amounts to the counties when the comptroller's office certifies those and sends them to us. Any questions or comments?
I've got one. This is just out of curiosity, and for some reason the app popped in my mind. Is it April? When can people start renewing registrations? Is it April? Is it now? Is it okay? Are we seeing any movement at all on that? People are using that.
are seeing movement on that, but I don't have any numbers on that
That's
exact.
okay, but people are taking advantage of it and using it.
Correct.
Okay.
So what's the process of acquiring that app?
You just go to gotwra.org and just use it on the internet portion of the phone. Just go right to it. And all the information is out on our website.
Again, you guys did a great job with it. I've got it on mine. It's good.
We're getting a lot of good feedback too.
Good.
Thank you.
Any questions from the commissioner, from Mr. Target? Anyone from the audience? Mr. Chairman, that concludes the budget committee, and back to you, sir. I thought I'd let the chairman take care of that. I'll let you.
We're not gonna fight over it, but, thank you, Chairman Griggs. Okay. I guess we should, announce that, I'm not sure if you went to the restroom or where you went, but when you disappeared, it was lucky for you, because when you came back, you're a richer man. So we have approved a raise for you that's comparable to the, commissioners from, TDAC. Is that correct?
You're buying dinner next
Right. So at least buy lunch. So congratulations on that.
No silver car. No, I like it.
I want to have just a moment or two to discuss a couple of things. And I'll go ahead and I'd like for Harold Cannon to, Commissioner Cannon, to discuss some, maybe some good news we have out of Region 4.
Yeah, John, if you'd come up, I want to read a letter from Carol Evans. She's the Executive Director of the Legacy Parks Foundation. Being in the Knoxville area, it is amazing what Carol and her group are doing just to bring parks about in Knoxville. They're very well respected. Let me read this letter she sent back in February. I just couldn't be at the commission meeting to read it to you then. Harold, I wanted to share with you how fortunate we feel to work with the TWRA team on collaborative use of the Forks of the River Wildlife Management Area. John Gregory, Pete Wyatt, Brian Ripley, Bill Smith, John Mike, Scott Dykes, and Joe Durham, and the rest of the group have been wonderfully receptive to new approaches and ideas, and incredibly patient as we have learned all of the ins and outs of their world. Accommodating recreational use and enhancing wildlife education in the wildlife management area is of tremendous benefit to our community and our region. We are so grateful to work with such an outstanding group of professionals on this effort. I hope you will share our gratitude with any and all. And thank you and the other commissioners for your willingness to serve. Carol, we also received an email from one of the board members, and I have done my part. I have stayed out of the way so I didn't screw up anything. All the compliments really go to John and his staff. We have talked over and over again about those folks. Some folks who use our facilities don't participate. Carol has taken this to another level and really gotten the folks who are using it for other than fishing and wildlife purposes, recreational uses. They're participating. John, I'll let you explain what's going on, but it's real kudos to our staff in Region 4.
Well, I'll give most of the credit to the staff, because they're the ones that have really worked hard to put this all together. Probably a little over 2 years ago, I think Brian Ripley probably was the contact Carol knew, my major up there. He was the district supervisor in the earlier days in that Knoxville area. But we got together about 2 years ago and started talking about how to diversify the use of the property. Carol Evans with Legacy Parks, but she also brought to the table an Appalachian Bike Club. And the three of us about a year ago entered into an MOU of member of understanding, and there is a Will Skelton, pretty sure that's right, Greenway, that's been on the property for some time, and it's used and open year round. It's kind of on the perimeter of the property, but it dead ends. And the hunters, the users have gotten used to each other's, how they use the property, and we get very little conflicts on the use of that Greenway trail. We expanded to working with the bike club, they've spent their money and have developed trails on the property. One's a perimeter trail that basically circles the forks of the river WMA, which we call our urban WMA because it is in East Knoxville. And then they've also expanded what we call the interior trails, connecting trails or loops that are shorter than going around the perimeter. One good thing about this relationship, that right off the bat, they recognize that hunting and fishing is the priority. So in this past season, we, opening days, heavy use, the area is closed to other use. And then after that wave comes in during the opening days of the season, then it gets to be where both uses are going on at the same time. This year we got a few more complaints, especially about the use of the interior trails. So it's still at the regional level right now, but we've all gotten back together and have come up with a recommendation that we'll be working through the process during the season setting process. But what the region, and this is the enforcement, the wildlife people, and myself, and Carol and the bike club all come together in agreement. What we'll probably bring into at least the Nashville staff is kind of a calendar, a mixed use. Opening weekends and things still might be exclusive use to the hunters. And then later in the season, it'll go to where in the mornings, the perimeter trail will be the only one to be able to be used by, this is outside of that greenway. The greenway's been there and the people can use it all the time. But the perimeter trail will be open in the mornings for the bicycles and the runners, but all the interior will be dedicated to the hunting. But at noon, it would change to where it's either use. And so we're working through, some growing pains, but it's been a great relationship, and I'm proud of what we've got there, and I think the users are working with us, and the bike people. You talk about some people don't pay; they're basically waiting for a permit to be established. They're willing to do it, So I think as we go on and more of these type uses occur, and we kind of figure out how to best mix them up, I would say, at some point we'll have that permit in place for the non-hunting users. But it's been a great relationship.
John, what type of hunting do they allow there, and how big of an area is it?
We have deer, archery, muzzleloader, shotgun,
But
no
not
center
rifle.
fire, no
Okay.
center fire, turkey hunting.
How big area?
Rabbit probably is where the conflicts started to occur. The rabbit hunters and the bicyclers and things didn't, those are the calls I got at first. And this past year, because of the interior trails, we had some of the deer hunters say that their morning got messed up, and a whole flight of bicycles come flying by, and things like that.
So
we're
at this
trying to-
point, you didn't have the interior restrictions of morning?
Right, that's something that we'll work through the season setting process and hope to get it to you all to consider.
Well, it seems like just in the last few years, we have more and more groups that are wanting to use our WMAs, and I know there are certain states that if you use a WMA, even if it's hiking, walking, biking, whatever, there is a permit that they have to. But, once you bring them in, then they have a voice too, so we're gonna have to study
Well,
that.
North Cumberland already has that. That's the one wildlife management area where we have just a recreational use permit. And, we haven't, we're doing our OHV trails. You've heard about that program. But we haven't had a whole lot of other, at least at North Cumberland, push to, to set up campgrounds. Of course, on North Cumberland, you can camp anywhere. But, we haven't had a big push from the non-hunting permit buyers to do a lot there. But
Okay.
every WMA will probably be on its own
Right.
on that.
Well, thank you for the
Thank you.
excellent work and the great PR. Thank you, Commissioner Cannon. I would like to ask Ed if, Director Carter, if maybe, I don't know, if you could have Don Crawford come back and maybe present his National Archery in the school program to especially the new commissioners. I had the opportunity yesterday morning to go to one of the elementary schools where the agency was kind enough to create enough funding that we put four kits into our school system in Bristol. I was amazed. I mean, I'm amazed at the excitement from the students, from the teachers, from the administrators, the discipline. It was just incredible. I was very touched, and these are kids that, because of Bristol's, we've lost a lot of employment. There's probably a 50% free lunch, so we don't have it's not a lucrative school system, and the kids that are getting exposed, and they are Matthews Bows, and it's just an incredible program, and I'm going to really encourage you to bring Don back so these other commissioners, the new, that are not aware of the program, and so maybe they can go back and help implement it in their schools. Because there was 2 kids there that the principal told me that they could not get, they have their discipline problems constantly, and now that they're in this shooting program, their grades are better, their attendance better, their attitude's better, and it's just it's a tremendous program. And I know ultimately we're hoping that these kids will be licensed buyers at some time, but just the fact that it's almost a mission for some of these kids to have a desire to go to school because they're going to get to participate that day in archery. I really want that program to be pushed each year with this commission.
Be glad to do that. And, the statewide tournament is upon us. I can't remember exactly the date, but
It's in April, isn't it?
April 4th and 5th.
April
So
4th.
I'd like for him to do it afterwards so he could tell us the numbers of people, the kids. I know last year was 256 schools participated in the state tournament, and the last thing they said is, well, we want to do the fishing program next year. So I mean, it's I think it's just an awesome opportunity as commissioners that we can go back and present this to them and get Don up there. And he did such a great job of coming up and training all the PE teachers and all, and they're even using it in after-school programs now too. So it's a fantastic program, and
It really is.
It's amazing the attitude of the teachers. I mean, I walked in there because I guess I was kind of held responsible for getting it. And I mean, it was just like you're elevated because they're just so thankful for it, and I was just amazed. They started it back in November, and yesterday was the first time that I could take off and go and watch a group do it, but I was so impressed, and so I want to see that pushed in the future months.
Be glad to. And not to get into his discussion, or his presentation, but we give a $1,000 grant through the agency to become involved in that. So very much enjoy the opportunity to do that.
Let him do the fishery too the same day if he would, since I know it's new, but it'd be nice to know that program's there also for fly fishing.
Got that noted, Don?
I sure do. Yes, sir.
So, do you have anything you'd like to address us before we adjourn?
Yes, sir, if you don't mind, just a few comments. First of all, I stepped out to talk to Nat and Tracy because they both had to leave, and I asked Steve, I said, did something happen while I was gone? And he just told me, so I can honestly say I didn't even know there'd been a change in the other commissioner, but I certainly do appreciate what y'all just did. It means a lot. Also, I hope it doesn't follow suit, that's for sure. But I also want to say that, in our budget, we have budgeted to bring our personnel to the border state average around us. We budgeted for it, it's in there, we want to move toward that, and I hope before the legislature adjourns that'll be something that will be possible, which is, as I understand from Steve, is about the same percentage. So that would be great if that happens. Just a couple of quick announcements. Carroll County Lake, which we've been involved in for quite some time and getting together, they had kind of their soft opening, I would say, the ribbon cutting this week. And there'll be a bigger presentation later on. But the Carroll County Range, which y'all remember you did the budget expansion for about 2 months ago, they're having their grand opening on April the 6th, and they're having quite a few people come there for that. I'll be joining them. They want to make sure that the agency is recognized as being such a major partner in it. Then later on in the summer, they'll have a follow-up where they're going to have a blast and cast, where they're going to have both the shooting and the fishing in the same day and bring in celebrities and everybody from all across the nation. The governor's one shot is the exact same day as the Carroll County range opening, so be a little bit of running around on that one, but I know some of y'all will be involved in that. This weekend, there's the young sportsman hunt out at Cheatham Wildlife Management Area for the turkey, the hunting for the young folks, and then the hunt for a cure, which will take place starting tonight, actually, tonight and tomorrow night and Sunday down out of Huntington. And there'll be probably, 300 kids or so involved in that. So the agencies, and I know we have at least 2 commissioners will be down there and/or guiding as a part of that. So Commissioner Teague and Commissioner Schuster will both be there as well. I don't know if Commissioner Griggs is going to be able to get there or not, but in any case, those are coming up. I want to give you just a couple of quick updates that just happened this week. The fishing below the dams with the Corps of Engineers and where, and our response to them to try to keep those areas open for our fishermen. Both Senator Alexander came down. We did the little news release thing out and a photo op and some news media that went out on his desire to see that not happen. And also he introduced legislation that would make the Corps look back and see if the money is well spent under the constraints they're under now. A legislator in Kentucky has also introduced legislation, and I think Senator Alexander and he are both working on that, called Freedom to Fish Act. They're having a kickoff April the 13th. They've asked us to come participate that in Berkeley, where Senator Alexander is going to be there, as well as I think Representative White Whit, I guess, excuse me, from up there. So that's happening. But I want to tell you about the hatcheries. I think I mentioned a little bit about that before. While Senator Alexander was here, we met with the Fish and Wildlife Service and the TVA. I thought we would be able to make an announcement by now as to how close we've gotten to keeping the hatcheries funded. I've seen a document that they've put together kind of outlining where we're going to be. I expect that to come out sometime in the next week, and I think you'll be very pleasantly pleased with where we ended up on that in terms of the 2 federal fish hatcheries. The license audit from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, we have exhausted our appeals on the senior citizens license, and in fact it would be losing about $1 million from both of our funds, from both the fishing and the wildlife side. But next week, on Tuesday, we're going to a meeting, and the director of the Fish and Wildlife Service and I think also his federal aid person want to make one more verbal appeal and see if we have any way to stop that action for right now, because we're only the 3rd state audited, and I think there are going to be many, many more states that are in the same category as we are, and we all kind of feel the same way, that we should have been given some opportunity to take some corrective action before that plan went into place. Sequestration that's going on is going to apply to our funds as well. We didn't think that they would apply to the trust funds, but they're going to. So we're probably looking at another 10% cut in the federal funds there as well. If you put all that together with what you just heard from Ken Tarkington, I'm not ready to pull the panic button yet, because we had an idea that this may be coming. So over the last 2 or 3 years, we've held back on some things that we'd like to have done, but we've also tried to bank as much federal aid as we could, so the match that we would have to pull from that to keep our programs going wouldn't impact our reserve like it would if it was all coming out of the state funds. So I feel like we're going to be okay, even with what's happening. Even though we're going to go through sequestration, the funds are up at a level they haven't been up for a while on the Wallop Bro side, which is the boating and fishing. So even though we're going to go through sequestration, the amount coming to the state's actually going to be more than we had last year before sequestration. So that was some good news. On the PR side, as you know, you can't buy ammunition in a store right now. It's all gone. So ammunition and guns are at an all-time high sale. That will bump up that fund over there. So even though we're going to lose $1 million out of it and sequestration, the fund's going to be up in that side as well, because it won't hurt quite as bad as it did. So I wanted you to know that we're tracking that. We're watching it very closely, but I think we're probably going to do okay in all of those things. So just want to bring those to your attention, and I know in your program you have outlined our next meeting date, so I think everybody's up to date on that one, and we'll see you in Paris. Thank you.
I want to encourage the commission, if you'll pull out, there's a hard copy in your book. It's got all the dates there. I mean, I hope that my effort for calling each of you and kind of discussing what the dates are thinking, we did alter them a little bit to try to help as much as I could. But I just think having them you know, the entire year posted already and where they're going to be, maybe at least let y'all adjust your schedules accordingly. So I hope that, I know that's something we haven't done in the past, but I hope it's something that will help everyone. So is there any other discussion among the commission about anything? I guess we're adjourned and see you in Paris.